Hello and welcome back to Bits and Bobs. Today's video we're going to count down the top 10 rarest coins from each pre-decimal denomination. Every single denomination, starting with the lowest denomination, so the half pennies and the farthings and that, going up to the highest, so the gold coins, the sovereign and the half sovereign, and all through the silver denominations as well. We'll count down from 10 to the 10th rarest to the first rarest, the number 1 rarest coin and most valuable coin from each of these denominations. Starting with the smallest denomination of the farthing.
These farthings will be the modern farthings, minted between 1860 and 1956 for circulation, and these coins will only be the circulation coins, no proof issues or NIFC coins, not intended for circulation. We will start with number 10 and work our way to the rarest farthing ever made. So, number 10 is the 1890 farthing, as we see here, featuring the same design as the pennies and half pennies of the era. The mintage of this coin in 10th place is 2,133,070, so not extremely rare yet. A few million though is not of course too common, especially for the age. The value of this coin is £3 in worn condition and £50 in uncirculated condition. The way the prices will work throughout the video is the top price or the lower numerical price will be for one in the worst condition, and the bottom price or the higher price will be for one in uncirculated grade, with all the detail and luster of the coin still there. So now we move on to number 9, getting rarer and rarer throughout these farthings. 9th place is a more modern design featuring the Wren of 1956. 1956 was the last year farthings were minted for circulation, and in that year 1,996,800 were made. The coin now has a value of £5 in worn condition and £20 for one in uncirculated grade. So some nice values there for a coin originally worth a quarter of a penny. Getting rarer still, we'll now move on to 8th place. And the 8th rarest farthing is the 1888, a lot of 8s. This is of course another older one featuring the portrait of Queen Victoria. The mintage of this coin is 1,887,250, so still not yet exceedingly rare, and has a value of £5 in worn condition and £55 in uncirculated grade. The older the coin, the harder it is to find an uncirculated grade, and sometimes will boost the price of an uncirculated one. Now then, we move on to 7th place, and the 7th rarest farthing is the 1880. Another one of these young head, but later in her reign, Queen Victoria farthings. This one has a mintage of 1,842,710, so not much of a change, but getting slightly rarer, and the value is similar as well, £5 for a worn one and £75 for one in uncirculated condition. We will now move on to number 6, and the 6th rarest farthing ever made is the 1882. Now you may note the H mint mark at the bottom, and that is on all the coins. Most of these farthings were made at the Royal Mint, but a few years they were outsourced, but there's no other variant, so it's just one type for each coin from each year. The 1882 with a mint mark has a mintage of 1,792,000, so getting slightly rarer, and a value of £5 in worn condition and £80 for one in uncirculated grade. So we're getting near to that £100 mark for one of the coins now. So 5th place, we're halfway through, and halfway 5th place is the 1863. Much older than some of the others, one of the first few of these new bronze farthings to be minted. And the number of them minted was 1,433,600. So a bit of a jump in rarity now, as we're now under 1.5 million, and a value of £12 in worn condition and £300 in uncirculated grade due to the rarity and age of the 1863 farthing. 4th place now, the 4th rarest farthing ever made was the 1887, the Jubilee year. Although no bronze or copper coins featured the Jubilee head, these would have all still had the young head, until all coins changed over to the veiled head in 1893. The mintage of the 1887 farthing is 1,340,800, so slightly rarer than before, and a value of £5 in worn condition and £99 in uncirculated grade. So now we move on to the finalists, the top 3, the medalists. In 3rd place, bronze medal for bronze coins goes to the 1876 farthing, and once again all 1876 farthings have the H mint mark just under the date for Heaton, where they were outsourced production too. The mintage of this coin is 1,175,200, so a little more of a jump in rarity once again to now only just over a million, a value of £10 in worn condition and £230 for uncirculated 1876 farthing, so not bad at all. Now move on to silver medalist. 2nd place, the 2nd rarest farthing ever made was the 1883 farthing. As you'll see, a lot of these coins are from the later bunhead era of Victoria. The mintage of the 1883 farthing is 1,128,680, so once again just over a million, and has a value of £9 in worn condition and £135 in uncirculated grade. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. What is the rarest farthing ever made for circulation? Well, let's find out. It is the 1892 farthing, again featuring the Britannia design and the ship and lighthouse behind her, with of course the date 1892, the key date to look out for, underneath Britannia. The mintage of this one is 887,240, so again another big jump in rarity, and we're now well under $1 million for an old coin, which is also quite small, so who knows how many of the original mintage survived. And the value of it now is £23 in a worn condition, and just under £300 for one in uncirculated grade.
So there's the first denomination done, and now on to the halfpenny.
Starting with number 10, the 10th rarest halfpenny is the 1895 halfpenny, as we see here, featuring the Britannia reverse design. The coin has a mintage of 3,032,154, so not too rare to begin with, but of course, as you'd expect for a top 10, not too common either. The coin has a value of £4 to £90. Throughout the video, I'll show the worst condition price, so £4 for a very worn one, and £90 is the bottom price. Throughout the video, the highest price on the screen is for an uncirculated one. So now we move on to number 9, and in 9th place is the 1883 halfpenny, once again with the Britannia design. This coin has a mintage of 3,725,000, so just clinging on to being in the 3 millions, almost into the 2 millions. This one has a value of £5 in worn condition and £175 in uncirculated grade, so a nice price there for a higher condition one. Now then, moving on to number 8, the 8th rarest halfpenny is the 1867 halfpenny, an earlier coin to our first two entries. This one has a mintage of 2,508,806, so £500,000 jump in rarity, and a value of £6.50 in worn condition and £325 in uncirculated grade. As it is older, of course uncirculated will be a bit rarer in itself just because of the age. Now then, moving on to number 7, the 7th rarest halfpenny is the 1866, 1 year older than the last one. This one has a mintage of 2,508,800, only 6 of these less than the 1867, getting it just that 7th space, and a value of very similar, £5 to £325, as it has basically the same mintage and from the same time period, but still some nice prices. Now then, moving on to 6th place, the 6th rarest halfpenny is the 1892 halfpenny, again a Victorian coin. This one has a mintage of 2,478,335, so again getting slowly rarer. The value of this coin is £3 in a very poor condition and £200 in uncirculated grade, a little lower as it is a little newer, although rarer. Now then, we're halfway through, and the 5th rarest halfpenny is the 1880 halfpenny. This coin has a mintage of just 2,423,465, about 50,000 less than our last entry. The value of this one is £4 in worn condition and £215 for a nice uncirculated example for the higher end collectors. Now then, moving on to number 4, and the 4th rarest halfpenny is the 1894. As we see here, the coin has a mintage of just 1,767,635, so quite a big jump in rarity now, as we're slowly moving down the list. The 1894 halfpenny has a value of £4 in worn condition, and once again £215 in uncirculated grade, a very nice price. Now then, the medalists. In 3rd place, bronze medal for a bronze coin, is the 1878 halfpenny, a lovely coin, with a mintage of just 1,425,535. We now get quite rare, and that of course boosts the value. £13 even for one in the worn and most terrible condition, and £435 for one in uncirculated grade with all the original mint, luster and design. Now then, silver medalist, 2nd place is the 1871 halfpenny, another lovely coin, with a mintage this time of just 1,075,280, so only around $1 million made, making it very, very scarce. And the value is £25 in the most worn condition and £900 for uncirculated, a very expensive coin in the higher grades. Now then, the moment you've all been waiting for, number 1, gold medal, the rarest ever halfpenny is the 1864 halfpenny, with a massive jump in rarity, as only 537,600 were made all the way back in 1864. But the price is a little bit of a shock, still very high with £20 for the worst condition and £600 for uncirculated. However, it is a little less than the 1871, and this is a bit of a mystery. Perhaps the selling prices of the 1871 indicate it's rarer than we think.
Our next denomination up now is the penny, so let's begin.
We'll start off with number 10. The 10th rarest pre-decimal penny is the 1880 one-penny coin, as we see pictured here. Now then, this coin has a mintage of 3,831,000, so we're starting off fairly high, but also not too common. A value of this coin in the top condition, all values in this video will be for the top condition, is £250, so definitely one to look out for if you have a nice quality example. Next up, we will move on to number 9, which is the 1878 one-penny coin, as we see again here on screen. This coin has a mintage of 2,764,470, so as you can see, we're starting to get rarer. And of course, with rarity comes value. This coin is worth £285 in the top condition possible. Now then, let's move on and get to some more rarer coins with number 8, which is the 1953 penny, a bit more of a modern one here. This is the first penny to feature Queen Elizabeth II. Now, this coin has a mintage of 1,348,400 and was only put into circulation to please the public, as a Queen Elizabeth II penny was highly in demand. This coin though is only worth £15, as most people kept their pennies. A lot were released in proof sets, and so to find one in good quality is fairly easy. They're more modern, so there's more of them around, and a lot of them were kept and put in sets, so it's less valuable than some of the harder to find Victorian ones in good quality. Next up is number 7, which is again a Victorian one, this time from 1871. Now, this coin has a mintage of 1,290,318, once again getting rarer all the time. This coin has a much bigger value, with a value of £1,500 for a top condition 1871 penny. And again, that's because that one would have done a lot of circulating in its time. Number 6, we move on to the 1868 penny, another older Victorian coin. This one is even rarer, as you'd expect, with a mintage of 1,182,720. The coin is from the same era, with roughly the same mintage, and also has roughly the same value in the top condition, £1,500. Now we move on to the top 5 rarest pennies. In 5th place is the 1950 penny, and here we see it on screen. This is the first George VI penny we've seen in this video. This coin has a mintage of only 240,000, so much rarer than all the previous ones. And this coin commands a value of £65. Once again, because it's modern, it's in better quality all round most of the time, and there are more of them out there because it wouldn't have been lost as much over time and worn and dropped and so on. So it's still worth £65, which is good, but not as high as some of the other ones with a higher mintage. Now, in number 4th place, the 4th place is 1951, again a George VI penny. Now this coin has a mintage of 120,000, so we're getting very rare as we near the end of this video. In top condition, this coin will sell for £150, which is a very good price, as this coin only circulated for about 16 years before it was taken out of circulation, so to find them in good quality is quite common, but they still command a high price due to the low mintage. And now, bronze medal number 3 goes to the 1933 penny. Aha, that might have thrown some of you off. You might have been expecting this coin to be the rarest, but no. The 1933 penny has a mintage of 7, which is incredibly low. Now, such a low mintage with such a high collectability and fame of the coin brings in a current auction estimate of the 1933 penny for £230,000, a huge increase in price. So obviously, I don't have to tell you this, look out for the 1933 penny, as that is a hugely valuable one. Now, silver medal, 2nd place, goes to the 1954 penny. I apologise for the low quality picture, but this is one of the only pictures that exist of the coin, as it is incredibly rare. The coin has a mintage of 7, or technically 7. The reason it's rarer than the 1933 is because only one was ever made with heads and tails. The remaining 6 were only struck on one side during the testing phase. They're technically not coins, and therefore technically not pennies. But again, they were sort of made, and they are 1954 pennies in a way. So there's about 7 of them, technically only one though with both sides. This one has an auction estimate of £200,000, a little less due to its being a little bit less famous. But now, gold medal, number 1, the rarest pre-decimal penny is the 1952 penny. Now, I won't show you the mintage on the screen because you're already looking at it. That's it. This coin here is the only 1952 penny ever made. It's a one-of-a-kind and a true collector's item for any penny collector. It has a current auction estimate of £205,000, as more people want the 1933 penny as it's more of a famous coin than this one, although it is slightly rarer. So there we go. Before we go, I do want to mention the 1869 penny. There is no recorded mintage accurately for this penny. The official number is definitely wrong, as it's much rarer than that. It sells for around £1,500 in top condition, so that might give you an idea of how rare it is. It is rarer than some of the coins on this list, but couldn't be included as the mintage is unknown and I wouldn't know where to put it.
There are two styles of the threepence. Firstly, we'll start off with the silver threepence.
So then, we'll start with number 10 and count our way down to the rarest silver threepence. In 10th place is the 1851, a young head Victoria threepence from early in her reign. This coin has a mintage of 479,065. We're starting off very rare, less than $500,000. Anything below 1 million is rare. The value of this coin is £15 in the worn and most terrible condition, and £185 in uncirculated. Throughout the video, the higher price on screen or the lower number will be the value of a coin in the worst condition, and the bottom number or the higher numerical value for the uncirculated value, so you get the full range of value. Now, on to number 9. And in 9th place is the 1882 threepence, as we see here on screen. The coin features the young head portrait of Queen Victoria, as we see on screen as well. This coin has a mintage of less, only 472,965, so again, very rare and a harder to find date. But with a similar value for a similar mintage, £15 to £185 from the worst condition to the best condition. A bit newer, but a bit rarer, balancing out for those same prices. Now then, on to number 8. The 8th rarest threepence is the 1841, an even older young head Victoria portrait here, though this portrait was used for many years and is the same on a lot of coins. So then, the 1841 threepence has a mintage of 443,520. Again, another jump in rarity, getting rarer and rarer still. A value this time of £22 in the most worn condition, and £265 in uncirculated grade. Boosted prices as it's rarer and older. Now then, on to number 7. The 7th rarest silver threepence is the 1836. This is the first coin that's not Victorian. This is a Gavelian coin from the reign of William IV. Now the 1836 threepence has a mintage of 411,840, so still hanging on in the 400,000s, but getting rarer, a value of £20 to £250. This is because more people collect Victorian coins than William IV coins, and so the prices are boosted as there's more demand for the Victorian coins. Now then, on to number 6. The 6th rarest silver threepence is another Gavelian coin, a William IV coin. This one from 1834, the first year this type of threepence was minted for circulation. The mintage of this one is 401,016, so just barely hanging on in the 400,000s. The value of this one is £20 to £250 once again, a similar mintage from a similar time, so a similar value for collectors nowadays. So now we are halfway through as we move on to number 5, and the 5th rarest silver threepence is the 1855. Again, one of the earlier Victorian ones, with the young head or bunhead portrait on the obverse. The mintage of the 1855 threepence is 383,350, so now a jump below the 400,000 mark, getting very rare indeed. A value of £28 in the worst condition, and £400 in uncirculated grade. Some nice prices here and nice premiums for the high-end collectors. Now then, moving on to 4th place, the 4th rarest threepence is the 1849. Again, a young head Victoria coin. Lots of these top 10 are young head Victorias. Now then, the mintage of the 1849 is 126,720, an unprecedented drop in rarity to an extremely low mintage, with a value of £30 even in the worst condition and £450 in the best uncirculated condition. A very nice, rare old coin. Now then, the top 3. In 3rd place, bronze medal goes to the 1846 threepence. Again, a young head Queen Victoria coin. The 1846 threepence has a mintage of just 47,520. This is tiny for a circulating coin of this age. It now has a value of £155, even in poor condition, and £1,000 in uncirculated condition with no marks, wear or damage, getting a really great condition coin. Silver medal, second place for silver threepences, is the 1837. This coin is the last of the Gwelian William IV coins, as we see here, making the second spot, with a tiny mintage of just 42,768. Barely any of these made, and after almost 200 years, how many survive? The coin now has a value of £200 in worn condition and £1,350 in uncirculated grade, a very premium coin. Now then, moving on to number 1, the rarest silver threepence is the 1853 threepence, with the young head portrait of Queen Victoria, as you may have expected. So how rare is the rarest silver threepence? Well, only 31,680 were made, and that is extremely low for the age and circulating coin. A value of £170 in worn condition and £1,050 in uncirculated. So a little bit lower than before, perhaps a few more have survived. Talking about survivors, this is the 1945 threepence. With an original mintage of around 370,000, I would have been somewhere in the first part of this video for rarity. However, almost all of them were melted down shortly after being made. This was the last year they were produced, and very few of these 1945s survive. We don't know how many survived, so the mintage is unknown and therefore couldn't be in this video. But one sold in 2020 for £65,000. That huge price tag gives you an idea of just how rare the coin has become and how few survived.
And now on to the brass threepence, the other type.
Now then, we'll start with number 10 and get rarer and rarer throughout the video. So the 10th rare threepence is this one here, from 1957. And we can see this is a Queen Elizabeth II coin with the portcullis crown design on the reverse. So just how rare is our number 10 entry? Well, there were 24,294,400 made back in 1957, so the coin is not actually very rare, but others just have higher mintages. The value for this coin is 45p in the lowest grade and £10 in the highest grade. Throughout the video there'll be two prices on screen each time. The one at the top of the screen, the lower price, will be for the poorest grade, the worst grade, and to the bottom, the higher price is for a coin in uncirculated grade, the best possible condition. So there's number 10, and we'll now move on to number 9. And the 9th rarest brass threepence is the 1958 threepence from the year later, with the same design and of course the same monarch, Queen Elizabeth II there on the obverse. The mintage of this one is of course lower, only 20,504,000. I say only, but still again, not a very rare coin, with many millions of them still out there and tens of millions made, and the value now of 65p in the poorest grade and £15 in the highest uncirculated grade to a collector. So still quite a cheap coin, no extremely high values yet. But now we move on to number 8, and the 8th rarest brass threepence is the 1938, an older coin with the thrift plant design to the reverse, and a now portrait of George VI there, facing left on the obverse of the coin. The mintage of this coin is 14,532,332, so quite a jump down in rarity, 6 million less, but still not a particularly rare coin in and of itself. A value now of £1 in poor condition and £35 in uncirculated grade, like the example we can see on the left of the screen. Now then, on to number 7, and the 7th rarest threepence is the 1940 threepence, as we can see here. Again, the same design, with the thrift plant to the reverse and a portrait of George VI to the obverse, done by Humphrey Paget. The mintage for this coin is 12,636,018. So again, a similar mintage, and not being very rare still, over 10 million of these coins made, with a value now of similar, well exactly the same in fact, £1 in poor condition and £35 in uncirculated grade. So there we go, and we'll now move on to number 6, and the 6th rarest brass threepence is from 1939, as we can see here. Again, a thrift plant design to the reverse, and the George VI portrait on the obverse of the coin. And now we begin to get a bit rarer. Only 5,603,021 of these coins were made, and when you put that into perspective of there being billions of these coins out there, this is a small portion to find of 1939, commanding a value now of £2 in poor condition and £55 in uncirculated grade in the best of condition. Now then, we are halfway through as we move on to number 5, and the 5th rarest one is from 1948. Again, a George VI coin with the thrift plant design to the reverse of the coin. The mintage for this one is even lower, as you'd expect, only 4,230,400. Again, a small percentage of the total of brass threepences made during the 30 years they were produced. The value for this coin is £5 in a poor condition and £70 in uncirculated grade, with no marks or damage to the coin, commanding a high price for the 1948. Now then, we move on to number 4, and in 4th place is the 1950. Again, another George VI coin with the thrift plant design to the reverse and his portrait on the obverse of the coin. Now then, another jump in rarity here. Only 1,600,000 of these were made. So now we begin to get a little bit more rare and valuable, as we'll soon see. This coin is a value of £7 in poor condition and £115 in uncirculated grade in the highest of conditions. So quite a high price now as we begin to get more rare. And now we'll move on to number 3. Bronze medalist third place is the 1951 threepence. As we can see here, again, a George VI coin, as you may have guessed, all the rest are. The 1951 has a mintage of 1,184,000. So as I've said many times now, getting very rare, almost below, almost at the 1 million mintage, a small percentage of all that were made, now commanding a value of £7 in poor condition to £125 in uncirculated grade. So very valuable threepence in higher grades. And now on to silver medalist, second place. The second rarest brass threepence is from 1946, an earlier George VI coin, as we can see here. This one has got a mintage of less than a million, only 620,734 were made, making it a very, very rare coin indeed, and as I say, a small percentage of all that were made. Hunting it out would be very hard to do, and if you wanted to buy it, it would now cost £10 in poor condition and £725 in uncirculated grade. And now on to number 1, the rarest brass threepence you've all been waiting for is 1949. So here it is, the rarest of all brass threepences. But just how rare is it? Well, less than 500,000 were made, only 464,000 were struck back in 1949, making it a very, very rare coin indeed, now commanding a value of £10 in poor condition to £725 in uncirculated grade. So it can be very, very expensive here to collect a high-grade brass threepence from 1949.
Returning to silver coins, now on to the sixpence piece.
So we'll count down the top 10, starting with number 10 and getting rarer and rarer as the video goes on. So in 10th place, the 10th rarest sixpence is the 1837 sixpence from the reign of William IV. This coin has a mintage of 506,880, so we're starting off very rare with only around 500,000 of the 10th rarest being minted. Throughout the video, the values will appear like this. The smallest number, or the higher up price, is the absolute lowest price you can get one for, so in the most worn, dirty and sort of bent maybe condition. So £12 will get you one of these in the worst condition, and the bottom number, or the higher price, is the one in uncirculated value, so this one costs £425 in uncirculated. 9th place is the 1863 sixpence, this time featuring the young head portrait of Victoria. This one has a mintage of 491,040, so now rarer than 500,000, getting very rare as we go along. The value of this coin is £50 in a worn condition and up to £600 for one in uncirculated condition, so a very nice coin to have. Now we'll move on to number 8. The 8th rarest sixpence minted for circulation is the 1850, another young Victoria sixpence. This coin has a mintage of only 489,960. This is quite a low mintage, definitely, especially for a small coin that could easily be lost, and a lot of these wouldn't have survived. The value of this coin is £30 in worn condition and £435 in uncirculated condition. The value isn't purely based on the mintage, it all depends on demand and how many have survived without being melted down or lost. Now on to number 7, and the 7th rarest sixpence is an older design. This one is from 1825, under the reign of George IV. The 1825 sixpence has a mintage of 483,120, so a similar mintage, but an older coin. The value of this coin is £40 in worn condition, and again £600 in uncirculated condition. So again, a great coin to have in a good quality. Now we move on to number 6, and the 6th rarest sixpence is the 1870 sixpence. Again, one of these Jean-Baptiste Malin designs from Victoria's reign. This time, the mintage is only 479,613 of these 1870 sixpences. The value of this coin is £40 in a circulated and worn condition, and £565 in an uncirculated condition, with all the mint luster and shine to the coin still. We're halfway through now as we move on to number 5, and the 5th rarest sixpence. We'll have to look at the obverse, as the design features no date on the reverse. On the obverse there's 1829 is this date, from George IV once again. The 1829 sixpence has a mintage of 403,920, so we're about to go below 400,000 as we get rarer and rarer. The value of this coin is £30 in a worn condition, and again £600 for an uncirculated one of these coins, and of course 200 years of history only adding to the value of the coin. Now we move on to 4th place, And the fourth rarest sixpence is the 1869 sixpence, as we see on screen. The mintage of this coin is only 388,080, so below 400,000, getting rarer and rarer still. And the value of an 1869 sixpence is £50 for a very worn example of the coin, and £550 for that top condition uncirculated variant. So there we go. And now we're on to the top three, the medalists. In third place, bronze medal goes to the 1893 sixpence. However, there were two minted this year. One, a very common one, millions made, of the veiled head portrait on the 1893, and there was an 1893 sixpence put into circulation with the Jubilee head, and that's the rare one. The mintage of the Jubilee head 1893 sixpence is 341,000, or at least officially, but the prices indicate not all of those have survived by quite a margin, as £600 will be needed to get one in worn condition, and £7,850 for one in uncirculated condition. This is a disproportionate price, as the amount of these coins that are seen and found are definitely disproportionate to the mintage, so potentially a lot of those 380-odd thousand were melted down or lots of them lost, making it now more valuable than it should be for its mintage. Silver medal for a silver sixpence. Second place is, once again, a George IV sixpence with this design on the reverse. Flipping it over to the obverse, we see it is an 1827 sixpence in second place, with a mintage of only 166,320. A big jump in rarity there for second place. This coin will sell for £85 in a worn condition, and up to £750 for one in uncirculated condition with all the original mint luster and shine. So nice and valuable coin there. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, number one, the rarest sixpence ever put into circulation was from the reign of George IV and is from 1828. The 1828 sixpence has a mintage of just 15,840, an incredibly low mintage for a circulating coin, especially one with this age. Now then, the value of this coin is £100 for a very worn one, and £1,000 to get the uncirculated type of the 1828 sixpence. So a very valuable coin for our rarest coin.
And after the sixpence, we now of course have the shilling.
So, start with number 10 and count down to the rarest. The 10th rarest is the 1863 1 shilling coin, as we see now on screen. What I'll do for all these coins is show you the mintage and then the value. So the mintage of this coin is 859,320. So even the 10th place is less than 900,000 minted, meaning all these coins, as suggested, will be very rare and definitely ones that you'd want in your collection. The value is £50 in the most worn and sort of really dirty condition, and up to £1,000 in the best condition. Throughout the video, the top price at the top of the screen or the lower price will be for the most worn and cheapest example, and the bottom price will be for an uncirculated or very, very nice condition one to get the worst and the best price range. Now then, 9th place. This one goes to the 1869, a very similar type of coin from a similar era with the same design of course, by Jean-Baptiste Malin. This one though is even rarer, with only 736,560 ever being minted back in 1869. This one commands less of a premium though, only £50 for the cheapest and most worn example, and £450 for a very nice or uncirculated variant. Now then, we move on to 8th place, and the 8th rarest shilling is the 1823, a different design from an older time period during the reign of George IV. This coin has a lovely design featuring the crown, shield and garter. The mintage of the coin is even less once again, 693,000 being made back in 1823. A value of once again £50 in a very worn condition, and just over £1,000 for one that is uncirculated and really nice detail. Now then, getting rarer still, we move on to 7th place. The 7th rarest shilling is the 1850 shilling, once again going back to this design. This one has a mintage of 685,080, so again rarer and rarer still. This one has a value of £500 in worn condition and £5,000 in uncirculated condition. This one is a bit of an outlier as there's not many around despite a fairly large mintage of still hundreds of thousands. Now then, we move on to the 6th rarest shilling, and this is the 1849 shilling, 1 year prior to that last one, the 1850. This one is a bit rarer with a mintage of 645,000, which is quite low, relatively speaking, for the shillings in this period. And this has a value of £20 in the most worn condition and £380 in the best condition. This one has a lot of its examples still surviving. It's not just about the mintage, it's also about the how many survive, the popularity and stuff, and all different things like that to drive the price of a coin. Now then, we're halfway through, 5th place goes to this coin. Now you can't tell the date straight away, as it's a date on the obverse of this coin. Looking to the obverse, we see this is George IV shilling from 1827. The 1827 shilling had a mintage of 574,000, which is getting very low. A value of £25 to be extremely worn variants, and up to £700 for one that's in tip-top condition or near uncirculated. Now then, we move on to number 4. What is the 4th rarest shilling ever made? It is the 1854 shilling. Once again, the Jean-Baptiste Berlin design on the reverse. In 1854, there were 522,414 shillings minted, meaning it was a rare year of shillings, and is now worth £225 in a very worn condition and £2,800 in the prime uncirculated example, so a very valuable coin. And now we move on to the medalists. In bronze or 3rd position, the bronze medal goes to the 1905 1 shilling, a more modern design and style than some of our other top 10 entries. This one has a mintage of only 488,390, now less than £500,000, which is very rare in the world of coins. This one has a value of £80 in a worn circulated condition and up to £3,000 to get one in uncirculated quality, a very valuable coin. Now then, silver coins, silver medalist. Second place, the 2nd rarest shilling, is the 1837 shilling. Although it has the same design as some of the early Victorias, this is a coin from the reign of William IV, with a mintage of only 479,000, and a very rare coin at that. The value is £25 in extremely worn condition, and £750 in uncirculated condition. So a bit of a less price, even though it is slightly rarer, and this is just depending on the coin market availability and popularity of the coins, as I've mentioned before. The mintage isn't the sole thing that drives the price, as we learn when we do these top 10 videos, because it's all about what people want, what is available, and obviously the demand of that coin overall. Now then, I won't keep you waiting any longer. Number 1, the rarest shilling ever made is the 1851 1 shilling coin. And here we see an example on screen. A true beauty of a coin, as the rarity makes it a renowned coin. This one has a mintage of only 470,071 ever made. This is very low, especially as over the years there were billions of these shillings minted. This one is worth £150 in a very, very worn example, and up to £2,000 in the most top quality uncirculated examples.
Doubling the value of the coin again, we now move on to the Florins, the Florin denomination top 10 rarest.
Now then, we'll start off with number 10 and count down the rarity. Number 10 is a Gothic Florin design. So we'll flip the coin over to the obverse to find out the date of our 10th rarest florin, and it is the 1855 florin, a lovely, lovely design with that Gothic portrait. So this coin has a mintage of just 831,017. That is very low to start off with, under £1 million, so definitely a scarce coin to look out for. The coin has a value of £40 to £720. Throughout the video, the prices will work. The top price, or the lower number, will be the price for one in very worn condition, a poor condition, and the bottom price, or the higher number, one in uncirculated or almost uncirculated grade, as close as can be got with these old coins. Now then, moving on to number 9, and in 9th place, a more modern coin, a 50% silver florin from 1932. The 1932 florin has a mintage of just 717,041, so a jump of 100,000 less in rarity, and a value of £15 in worn condition as it's a bit newer, and up to £1,000 for one in uncirculated grade, a lovely rarity of a George V coin. Now then, moving on to number 8, and the 8th rarest florin is again a Gothic florin design. So once again, flipping the coin over, the obverse gives us the date, which is 1877, another old Victoria one. The mintage of this one is only 682,292, so rapidly getting rarer and rarer as we go along. The value of this coin is £25 in a very worn condition, and up to £820 in uncirculated grade. Some nice prices for a very rare old coin. Moving on now, number 7. In 7th place is another Gothic coin. Here we see this one. The obverse gives us the date once again, this time 1862. The 1862 florin has a mintage of 594,000, closing in on £500,000 now, very rare indeed, and a value of £110 in circulated condition and £5,000 in uncirculated grade. A very, very, very high price, and it is a bit of an outlier, to be honest. Not all that were made have survived, boosting the price nowadays. Now then, number 6, the 6th rarest florin ever made, as we see here, is another Gothic one, from 1886. The mintage of the 1886 Gothic florin is, as we can see, 591,773, so just a bit rarer. Has a value of £20 in worn and circulated condition, and £550 in uncirculated grade. A bit more of a sensible price there for this coin, as it's a bit newer as well. Now then, we're halfway through, and the 5th rarest florin ever made. Once again, another Gothic one. Don't worry, they aren't all Gothic, so the rest of it, there are some other designs. But taking 5th place is the 1876 Gothic florin, with a mintage of 580,034. A value of £30 in a very worn condition, and £850 in uncirculated grade. So again, some very high prices for this lovely old florin. Now then, 4th place, the 4th rarest florin ever made for circulation is the 1854, one of the earlier dates of these Gothic design florins. Now then, this one has a mintage of 550,413, so similar to the last few, and this one has a value, being a bit older, is boosted of £350 in worn condition and £7,500 in uncirculated grade. Again, a bit of an outlier, perhaps not all of those 550,000 have survived, and of course the age will be playing a factor in that. Now, as you've just seen, we're on to the top 3, the medalists. Bronze medal goes to a Gothic florin from 1867. This coin has a mintage of 423,720, so a jump in rarity now down to 3rd place, and a range of values between £100 for a very worn one and £2,000 for one in an uncirculated grade, so a very expensive coin, whatever the condition, respectively. Now then, silver medalist for some silver florins. 2nd place is the Gothic florin, once again, the Gothic design, from this time the last and the rarest year of Gothic, 1869. The 1869 Gothic florin has a mintage of just 297,000. That's 297,000. Very low. Once again, a similar value though of around £100 in circulated quality and £2,000 in uncirculated grade. A lovely rare coin. And now, number 1. Not a Gothic florin, what could it be? What is the rarest florin ever made for circulation? It is a Jubilee florin, here featuring the Jubilee head, of course, by Sir Joseph Edgar Boehm. It is the 1892 florin, a rather inconspicuous coin, but is in fact the rarest florin ever made for circulation, with a mintage of just 283,401. Very rare indeed. Now boosting the value of this coin to £50 in a worn and circulated condition, and £1,000 in uncirculated, despite it being a bit newer and therefore more of those coins being around. A big price boost due to that incredible rarity.
Next up we have the half crown, a very popular denomination, but what are the 10 rarest coins of that denomination?
So, we'll start off with number 10 and work our way up to get rarer and rarer. So, starting off with 10th place, we have the 1840 half crown. Here is the reverse of the design, featuring a lovely crown shield, but the date is on the obverse of the coin, so we'll have a flip it over and see the date here. 1840, the 10th rarest half crown, with a mintage of 386,496. So, not starting off too rare, but still quite a low mintage, as is the top 10. Throughout the video, the way the values will work is the top number is the cheapest possible one you can get, so the most worn and terrible dirty condition, and the bottom date is the absolute best of the best condition you can get. So for the 1840, 135 is the cheapest, and £2,000 is the most expensive these have sold for. Next up, we're moving on to number 9. And in 9th place is another one of these designs where we can't see the date until we're on the obverse. So building tension, and the date is the 1848 half crown in 9th place, with a mintage similar at 367,488, so slightly rarer. Now then, the values for this coin is pretty much the same, £150 in worn and £2,400 in the utmost top quality. When do they come on sale? Usually at auctions. And now we'll move on to 8th place. Now the 8th place of rarest half crown is a coin from the reign of William IV, and here we see his portrait done by William Wine. On the reverse we reveal the date as 1835, getting our 8th place spot on this list. Getting rarer still, this coin has a mintage of 281,952, getting comparable to the Kew Gardens 50p for reference. The value of this coin is £100 in worn and £1,000 in top-end condition. It is a bit lower than before, as more people collect Victorian coins than William IV coins, and demand, of course, drives the price. As you will see through the video, it's not just the mintage, it's also the popularity, the design, and the availability of the coin that will drive the price, as well as, of course, the mintage being the main factor. And now we're on to number 7. In 7th place for the rarest half crowns, we now come to another King's coins, the Edward VII 1903 half crown, taking our 7th space on this list. This coin is the rarest still, has a mintage of 274,840, so a similar mintage to the last one, but still very rare. Now this coin will sell for around £150 in the most worn condition, and up to £3,000 in the least worn condition, as more people collect these sort of more modern coins than the older William IV coins. As we've seen, this adds a premium even though it's the same or similar mintage. Now then, on to the 6th place. 6th place goes to this coin, featuring again this design on the reverse, meaning we know it's a young Victoria. This one is from 1849 in 6th place. This coin has a mintage of 261,360, rarer and rarer still, and a value of £75 in the worn condition and £1,800 in less worn condition. Now just because the lower mintage, it all depends how many have survived, not been melted down, lost or kept in collections, so due to this and these factors, this coin is actually a bit of a lower price point even though it's a rarer coin. So still one to look out for though, for this rare mintage. Now we're halfway through, and in 5th place we have the 1905 half crown. This is probably the most famous of all the rare half crowns. This coin has a mintage of 166,008, meaning there's almost 100,000 less of these than our previous one. We're getting very rare now. The value of this in the worn condition is £400, and one in the top condition possible will sell for £10,000, a huge premium. This is partly due to sort of media hype and everyone knowing this is the rare 1905 half crown that helps it do this, and again, there are more modern collectors rather than some of the older ones we've seen that are still comparably rare. But getting rarer and rarer now, we move on to 4th place, and again, William IV is on the obverse of this coin. Flipping it over, we see this time it's a coin from 1837. The 1837 half crown has a mintage of 150,526, so similar to the 1905 half crown. However, this one sells for £150 in worn condition and £2,000 in uncirculated condition. And again, as I just mentioned, this is because there are more Edward VII collectors than William IV. And now, 3rd place. The bronze medal for rarity of half crowns goes to this coin here, an older design. In fact, one of my favourite designs on coins. But today's not about design, it's about rarity. So we flip it over and find out this is the 1828 George IV half crown, with an incredibly low mintage of 49,890, a huge jump in rarity to a very, very rare coin. So let's look at the values of this rarity. Now surprisingly, for such a rare coin, £150 will get you one in the most worn condition, and £2,000 will get you one in the top condition. And again, this is due to the factors that I've kept in mentioning. Even though it's so incredibly rare, and I think this coin has a lot of potential for investments and rising prices, for now, it is still quite a lot less than things like the 1905, as that has more collectability. 2nd place, silver medal, they are silver half crowns, goes to another one of these. We wait, the final time we'll do this, flipping it over, what will the date be of the rarest of these young Victoria half crowns? And it is 1841, a date that is very rare. In fact, only 42,760 were struck for circulation back in 1841, making this the rarest Victorian half crown. A little clue there as to what the final coin may be. The 1841 half crown is from Victoria's reign, a collectible and popular era, meaning that in very worn condition it will sell for £750, and again around the £10,000 mark for one in the top condition to be bought by those very high-end collectors wanting the best of the best for their coin collection. Speaking of the best, we now are on to number 1, the rarest half crown ever found in circulation, was the 1952 half crown. This coin was not even planned to be found in change, but it was, by a lucky man in 1967. This coin has a mintage of 1. That's right, just 1, meaning the value is almost unsayable. I think personally I'd estimate it to be at least around or close to £1 million, maybe even more than £1 million. Now if you want to learn more about the 1952 half crown, a coin with lots of history, as how it was found by accident and so on, then we have a whole video on this coin, the rarest coin ever found, as this coin has a mintage of 1, and that 1 was found in change, something that's never happened before, and it's an interesting story.
And now on to the last silver denomination of the crown.
So then, circulating crowns, the top 10, here we go, with number 10 will get rarer and rarer throughout the video. In 10th place is the 1897 crown, featuring the George and the Dragon design by Benedetto Pesucci on the reverse. This coin has a mintage of only 252,118, so very, very much under £1 million to start with. All these coins will definitely be rarities. With each coin I'll tell you the mintage first, and then I'll tell you the price. Now on the screen there's 2 prices. The one at the top of the screen, or the lower monetary price, will be the cheapest you can possibly get this coin, probably in the most worn and dirty condition. And the bigger price at the bottom of the screen will be one in uncirculated quality, what you'll pay sort of the maximum price to get one in the best uncirculated quality. So there we go. Now we just carry on getting rarer and rarer. Now on to number 9. In 9th place is the same design coin from the same era, 1899. This coin has a lower mintage of only 166,300, so quite a jump in rarity, now below 200,000 minted. The value of this coin is £30 in the worn and dirty condition, and £585 for an uncirculated one of these coins. Some nice values here on the better condition coins. 8th place goes to the 1898 crown, another one from that sort of same era of the late 90s with the Benedetto Pesciuti portrait and the veiled head beyond the obverse. This coin has a mintage of slightly less than the one before, with 161,450 being made back in 1898, and a similar value of £30 in a worn condition and £590 for one in uncirculated condition. We now move on to 7th place. The 7th rarest crown is this one here. This one here has the date on the obverse of the coin, so we'll flip it over and find out this is a 1845 crown, taking our 7th place. The 1845 crown features the young head Victoria portrait with a mintage of only 159,192. Again, rarer still. A value of £90 in a worn condition and £1,300 in an uncirculated condition, so another step up in value there. Now then, we move on to the 6th rarest crown ever made. 6th place is another one with a date on the obverse, but you may be able to tell this is an earlier version with the garter around, meaning it's from the reign of George III, and this particular date is the 1818 crown, taking our 6th rarest coin. This coin has a mintage of only 155,232, so we're not far away from going under 150,000 mintage. The value of this George III 1818 crown is £50 in a worn condition and £1,000 in uncirculated condition, due to there being more Victorian coin collectors than George III collectors, so that boosted the price due to demand. Halfway through now, and the 5th rarest crown is the 1894, back to this later Victorian design with George and the Dragon. The 1894 crown has a mintage of only 144,906, so below 150,000, definitely getting very rare, and has a value of £35 in worn condition and £500 in uncirculated condition. Due to it being made later, more have survived without being melted down or lost, and collectors often prefer the young head portrait. Next up is number 4, and the 4th rarest crown is one of these, once again featuring the lovely crown shield design on the reverse, and on the obverse we notice that this coin is from 1847 to take our 4th rarest spot. It is worth mentioning the 1847 Gothic crown was also released with a mintage of only 8,000, but was a proof coin, so won't be in this video. The circulating counterpart had a mintage still low, only 140,976 put into circulation, now meaning the price is £150 for one in worn condition and up to £2,500 to get one in uncirculated condition with all the mint luster. One sold for that much last year. Now then, 3rd place, bronze medalist, goes to the 1888 crown, another one of these later Victorian George and the Dragon crowns. This is the rarest of these with a mintage of only 131,899, definitely a rare coin to look out for. This one has a value of £50 in worn condition and £600 in uncirculated condition. Due to being more recent, there's less time for it to be worn, whereas uncirculated coins from before will be harder to find in uncirculated, as more and more of them will have been spent and used for longer periods of time, getting more wear. Now on to the silver medal. These silver crowns, the silver medalist is a George IV coin, and here's his portrait by Benedetto Pesciuti, and we flick to the reverse to find out this is the 1822 crown, also featuring the George and the Dragon design, with a mintage of only 124,929, a definite rarity on this list, with 2nd place, a value of only £30 in worn condition and up to £1,700 in less worn condition. For similar reasons that I've said, Victoria coinage is much more popular than George IV coinage, so the value of the worn condition one isn't that much, but it could be a good opportunity to get it while it's fairly low priced, as that mintage is also very low. Speaking of low mintages, we have now come to number 1, the rarest crown ever made, is one of these ones. So, the tension builds as we flip to the obverse to find out that this is 1844. The 1844 crown is the rarest circulating crown ever made. Less than 100,000 of them were made, only 94,284 being struck. A very rare coin indeed, especially when you factor in the age as well. £275 will get you one in the most worn condition, and you'll have to pay £6,500 to get one in uncirculated condition. A very high price for a very rare and wonderful coin. These higher end prices are usually paid at auction rather than straight out. This one was bought at auction from London Coins back in 2022.
Gold coins now, starting off with the half sovereign.
We'll start off with number 10, the 10th rarest half sovereign, and count our way down to the rarest. In 10th place is a shield-backed sovereign from the reign of George IV. It features his second portrait and is from the year 1826 and has a mintage of 334,830. So we're starting off very rare, well under $500,000 to begin. A value of £400 in the most worn condition and £2,000 in uncirculated grade. The way the prices will work is the top price, or the lower number, will be for the worst condition and the bottom price, high number, for uncirculated. Number 9, as we just seen, moving on to now, is a Victorian coin, a young head Victoria coin from 1838. The first year Victoria was on half sovereigns, and of course all coins, after taking the throne in 1837. The mintage of the 1838 half sovereign is 273,341. So another big jump in rarity now, down to around $250,000 already. A value for this coin though of £325 in worn condition and £1,250 in uncirculated, as it's newer and less desirable. Now then, moving on to number 8. In 8th place, we return to a George IV half sovereign, this time with a different reverse and his first portrait, my favourite of the two. And I must say, a lovely, lovely reverse design as well. A very beautiful coin, and a rare coin too, with a mintage of just 231,288. Now under £250,000 mintage for these coins. The value of this coin is £500 in circulated and worn condition, and £2,950 in uncirculated. A very high premium coin. Now then, moving on to number 7. In 7th place is another George IV coin, with yet another reverse design. Lots of variety in his reign, and of course as well, lots of rarities. That's all covering in this video. It has his first head and a new reverse design, as I said, which is my least favourite of the three. The mintage is 224,280, and again, a very rare coin indeed, with a value this time of £385 in worn condition and £2,000 in uncirculated grade. Prices and mintages do not always exactly correspond. It depends on the desirability and how many actually survived to the original mintage. Moving on now to number 6, we return to a Victorian shield-back half sovereign. As we see here, the shield-back design on the reverse, and the obverse, the young portrait of Queen Victoria. This is an 1850 half sovereign with a mintage of just 179,595. Very rare, and a value of £375 in worn condition and £2,000 in uncirculated grade. Now then, we're halfway through, and in 5th place, the 5th rarest half sovereign is a William IV half sovereign. A very bad picture, but one of the best you can find. With an eagle eye, you can tell this is an 1837 William IV half sovereign, again with the shield reverse design. This coin has a mintage of 160,207, and of course getting rarer and rarer still throughout the video, and a value of £400 in worn condition and £2,250 in uncirculated grade. Now then, moving on to 4th place, we return again to another William IV coin, another William IV half sovereign, this time from 1836, and a better picture this time to see the design in more detail, which is very, very nice, I must say. The mintage of the 1836 half sovereign is 146,865, and so we're now under 150,000 mintage. Very, very rare. A similar value though of £400 in worn condition and £2,250 in uncirculated grade with no damage or marks, like the one on screen. Now then, on to the medalists, the top 3, the finalists. Bronze medal, 3rd place, goes to another William IV half sovereign, the last one in this video. The rarest William IV half sovereign and the 3rd rarest half sovereign is from 1834 and has a mintage of just 133,899. Needless to say, a very rare coin, and a value of £450 in worn condition and £2,650 in uncirculated grade. Now then, silver medal, 2nd place, goes to a Victorian coin. It is a Victorian shield-back design with the later and more modernised shield reverse design here, and it is from the year 1879, with a mintage of just 35,201. Unbelievably rare, and is a very, very desirable coin, with a value of £500 in worn condition and £3,000 in uncirculated quality. Barely any of these sell, so it's very, very hard to get a price tag for this one. Had to use a bit of estimation. Now then, 1st place, the rarest half sovereign is a George III half sovereign from 1820. The 1820 half sovereign, a lovely shield design in the reverse, and a portrait of George III on the obverse, takes the spot as the rarest half sovereign, with a mintage of just 35,043. Once again, a crazily, crazily low mintage, but a value of not exceedingly high to be fair, £650 for worn condition and £3,500 for uncirculated grade.
On to our last and highest value coin, the sovereign, for our last denomination.
Starting with number 10, the 10th rarest is 1835, from the reign of William IV, and features a lovely shield design with a crown and the Hanoverian shield inside. The mintage of this coin is 723,441, so well under a million to begin with, and of course will get rarer and rarer as the video progresses. Now then, the value of this coin is £533 in the most worn condition and £3,750 in uncirculated. Throughout the video, the top price or the lower numerical value will be for the worst condition, and the bottom price at the bottom of the screen, bigger number, will be for one in uncirculated quality. Now, we'll move on to number 9. The 9th rarest sovereign ever made is the 1885. This one is from the reign of Queen Victoria and features the young head portrait on the obverse. The mintage of this coin is 717,723, so a similar mintage, but of course slightly rarer, making it even more of a desirable date for sovereigns. The value of this coin is £475 in circulated quality and £775 in uncirculated grade, and this is just because it's a bit newer, so more of them will be around in a higher grade. Now then, moving on to number 8. The 8th rarest sovereign ever made is the 1823, an older one still. This one from 1823 in the reign of George IV. The mintage of this coin is now 616,770, so another jump in rarity there into the 600,000s, getting very rare. The value of this coin is £1,000 in worn condition and £10,000 in uncirculated quality, so a great year to have for gold sovereigns if you do. Next up, we'll move on to number 7, and in 7th place is the 1831. Once again, a William IV coin with that lovely shield design. The coin has a mintage of only 598,547, so again, another jump down in rarity to the 500,000s now. This coin is also very valuable and is worth £750 in the worn condition and £4,750 in uncirculated grade. The prices are not always directly linked to the mintage, as it just depends on the demand for that coin and sort of how many have survived of that original mintage. In 6th place, we have this coin. This is a Victorian shield-backed sovereign, and so we'll flip it over to the obverse to find out it's from 1874, taking the 6th place. This coin has a mintage of 520,713, so still in the 500,000s. But what is the value of an 1874 sovereign? Well, it is £1,150 in the most worn condition and £7,800 in uncirculated grade. So again, another lovely sovereign to have. We're now halfway through, and taking the 5th place spot is another one of these coins. So flip it over, a shield-backed sovereign, to find out this one is from 1839, one of the first years of Queen Victoria. The 1839 sovereign has a mintage of 503,695, so only just still in the 500,000s, about to get even rarer. And the value of this one is £1,000 in circulated grade and £8,500 in a uncirculated grade. So another lovely Victorian sovereign to have. 4th place now, we're getting very, very rare. We have next another shield design of sovereign with a more ornamental shield around the outside and of course the St Edward's crown on top. Flipping over to the obverse of this George IV sovereign, we can see it's from 1828. The 1828 sovereign has a mintage of just 386,182, so another huge jump in rarity there, as we're now only around a third of a million. The value is £5,500 in a worn and circulated grade and £23,000 for an uncirculated one. Some of these coins are truly only reserved for the proper, high-class and wealthy collector. Now then, 3rd place, the bronze medalist, is a shield-backed sovereign. Once again, we'll flip the coin over and find out this one is from 1841. Now then, the 1841 sovereign has a mintage of just 124,054, another huge jump in rarity. We're now way rarer than a lot of the other ones. The value of this coin is £5,000 in worn condition, and again, £23,000 in uncirculated grade for those truly, truly, truly high-end collectors. Now then, number 2, silver medal. The 2nd rarest sovereign is the 1879. And this one features the classic St. George and the Dragon design by Benedetto Pesciucci. The 2nd rarest sovereign has a mintage of just 20,013. A really, really hard coin to find, as the mintage is incredibly low. This leads to a value of £2,500 in worn condition and £7,000 in uncirculated grey. The price is driven down a bit by the fact that there are some of these 1879 ones with mint marks, and you could just pay a bullion price for an M or an S mint mark. So this one's a more premium coin for those looking to get every type in their collection. Now then, enough of those sovereigns, we're on to number 1, the rarest sovereign ever made for circulation. It's an older design featuring the garter around the portrait, and this one is from George III's reign, 1819. The 1819 sovereign has a mintage of just 3,574. But wait, it gets rarer. Currently, there are estimated to be only 10 of these coins known to collectors. Just 10. Think about that. How few people can own an 1819 sovereign. And therefore, an amazing value of £200,000 is slapped onto this coin. So if you want the full date run of sovereigns, beware of the 1819, setting you back £200,000. A truly exclusive sovereign.
And so there we go. That is all the circulating pre-decimal denominations and the top 10 rarest coins and rarest years of coins from each single denomination. So there we go, of course. Thank you very much for watching. Very, very much indeed for watching all the way through the video. That is much appreciated indeed. And of course, if you have enjoyed this way through the video, all the way to the end, then please do subscribe to the channel if you've learnt something and enjoyed. Thank you for watching once again, and we'll see you soon for some more coins in the future on Bits and Bobs. Bye.